Hi, today I want to talk with you about a common question that you probably have in the springtime. And that is, what plants in my yard are dead and which ones are still alive and just taking a bit longer to wake up? So that's what we're going to talk about today. I've got 3 tips for you real quick that will help you be able to figure out if your plants are still living and just taking a longer time to wake up in the spring, or if they are really and truly dead. So let's get started. The first thing that you can do, it's a very simple one, is just give it some time. There are plants that wake up earlier, and usually they're your spring blooming plants that are waking up much earlier. But then the plants that bloom later in the season, a lot of your fall blooming plants, ones I can think of off the top of my head would be like Rose of Sharon, hibiscus, even, let's see here, Russian sage, those kinds of plants. They're going to take a little bit longer to wake up than your spring blooming plants. So, crepe myrtles are another one. So while your other plants might be already having green leaves for quite a while, your other plants might be still looking like a pile of sticks. And that's totally normal. They just take a little bit longer to get going, but that doesn't mean that they're dead yet. So just give them some time, wait it out. And a lot of times they will start to wake up later in the springtime and start getting those leaves. Now, the second thing that you can do is know your plant. And what this means is, if you're familiar with the kind of plant it is, like, let's say, for example, I had 3 Rose of Sharon bushes, and 2 of them started getting green leaves, and then the third one just was not starting to wake up and put on any leaves or anything like that. Or if you've got an evergreen tree that is very brown, then it could just be dead. And we've had a really hard spell in our winter. It got super cold here this year. And so, for example, I've got 3 evergreen trees in the front of my house, and they usually do struggle in the winter a little bit more. They turn brown, but 2 of them are starting to put on a little tiny bit of green growth. And then the third one, you could just tell it's like all the needles have fallen off. It seems a bit more, stiff, like it doesn't flex in the wind as much, so it looks like it's a goner. And I am going to give it a little bit more time, just hoping that there is some life still left in it, but odds are that one didn't survive, because the other ones that are the same kind are, perking up around it and starting to put on new growth again and recover from that really hard winter. So just know your tree and know if it's something that is taking a bit to wake up. If it had a hard spell, like a hard winter where it didn't get a lot of water or really cold temperatures, that could make it have a harder time recovering in the springtime. But kind of going back to the first one, just give it some time and see. But if you know without a shadow of a doubt, like you're looking at the others and this one looks dead, then it could just be gone. And the third one is ask a friend. Odds are you've got somebody in your life that enjoys gardening, enjoys plants, and that has some knowledge about it. And that has been such a huge resource for me. I've got a couple of friends that I ask them questions all the time about gardening. That's how I basically learned pretty much everything. All of the basics of what I've learned from some friends that are fantastic gardeners, and then just doing research on my own. But a friend is a great resource where you just can say, hey, I've got this plant. I am so confused. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's alive or not. And a lot of times if somebody has had some experience with gardening, they might be able to identify the plant and let you know kind of what to expect, and if it has not survived the winter, or if you just need to give it some more time. So those are my 3 tips. Once again, give it time, know your plant, and ask a friend. Now, if you are finding that you are having to replant things every single year, your whole flower bed is not coming back. I guess that's the 4th thing. I guess this goes with knowing your plant. But if you're planting annuals, that means that they were not meant to survive the winter. And so if you, a lot of times garden centers will have this huge annual sale. You can buy lots and lots of annuals. They're generally a little bit less expensive, but they will not survive the winter in your zone. And that's why they're called annuals. So if you're somebody that has usually plants like a ton of annuals and you get nothing coming back in your flower bed every single year and you're having to redo that, if you're finding that a lot of the plants in your flower bed are not surviving, then odds are you're not putting the right plant in the right spot. And so I've got a couple things that can help you with that. First of all, I have a free download of perennials that you can mix and match. They all look great together. They all go together. And there I have a set of 6 for sun, I have 6 for shade, and 6 for part sun, part shade. So if you can figure out what kind of sunlight your area is getting, these are perennials that are common and do well in zones. Most of them do well in zones 3 to 8. Some of them are 4 to 8, some of them are 3 to 9, something like that. But I think that covers a huge range of plants. So that is a free download. I'll leave a link for you if you want to download that. That is something that you can just have. You can click on the links to learn more about those plants, but those are some really good, easy plants that will come back every single year for you, or that should come back every single year for you. So that is one thing that has really helped me. And that's one thing that has been so important to me all while gardening, is just finding plants that will come back every year, that I don't have to redo the whole thing. It just makes life a whole lot easier when you've got stuff that's gonna come back every single year. The second thing that I have, and it is on sale right now, is 5 Steps to a Simply Beautiful Gardening course. Now in this course, it is online, and I have walked you through all of the steps to create a beautiful flower bed, all the way from what kind of prep work you need to do, figuring out what your space is like in terms of sunlight, the amount of water you have, the zones, all those things. Some of the things I mentioned today, if you don't really know what I'm talking about, I go through all of that with you. I help you figure out which plants to pair up that would look good together, plants that are going to come back every year. Let's see here. What else does it have in there? It has how to prep your flower bed to get it ready to grow, ways to deal with the weeds and things like that in a way that makes it easy for you, some aftercare. I've got planning sheets in there so you can sketch out your plan and really walk you through all of the steps on how to do that, even how to make Pinterest boards that help you visualize what your flower bed will look like. So it's everything like that that you need to know. It is a very short time commitment. Each lesson is only a few minutes long. So it's very simple for you to sit down. If you've got 3 minutes, you can learn a little bit and move on towards the next thing. And so within a very short amount of time, you will have all the basics that you need to create a flower bed for your house. And the beauty of this is you could hire somebody to create a plan for you, and they would, I've heard of companies that you can hire somebody, they will create a plan, they'll send you the plants, tell you where to put them, and you can just do it. However, number one, you don't know anything about those plants. So you don't know anything about their care. You don't know a whole lot about the plants at all. And number two, it's really hard to replicate. Because odds are you're going to have more than one space that you need a flower bed for. And so unless you want to keep paying that fee every single time you want to create a flower bed for somebody else to do it for you, and just spending a few minutes learning the basics, you can create your own flower bed anywhere, anytime, any space. And it just pays for itself over and over again, because you're not having to pay somebody to do it. You just know how to do it yourself. And it's so simple. And I've really kept it to just the basics. This is for you. If you don't love gardening, if you want something low maintenance, easy to take care of, that still looks pretty nice, this is the course for you. This is not for somebody that really enjoys gardening necessarily. This is for you if you've got a house and you just need your space to look nice and welcoming up front. So anyways, that's 5 Steps to a Simply Beautiful Garden course. I will put the link to that as well. And anyways, I hope that is helpful to you in figuring out what kinds of plants are going to come back in the spring and which ones are just goners. Hopefully you don't have too many plants that are not coming back for you, but if that's the case, I can help you figure out plants that will come back every year, so you don't have to keep reinventing the wheel and figuring out what to plant and spending all that time and energy just to have it all die off every winter. So anyways, hope you have a great day, and check out my course, check out the free download.